Hello guys, and welcome to another Applied Energistics 2 tutorial. This is a summary of a lot of videos that I have done in the past. What you see below me is it's a large base, or it's it's not a base, doesn't look like one, but it's an example of how to build a large network in a structured way, using P2P tunnels and large ME controller, and combining that with other mods, autocrafting, storage, or processing. So these are the basic things, and I'll go through everything you see here. I have some industrial craft, I have some EnderIO, I have some thermal expansion stuff, and all of this is very basic, and it's not really filled with a lot. I will make a very few examples, but filling all these rooms with additional content or for more recipes, it will just be the same thing over and over and over again. So I think this should be enough to prove my point, not prove my point, but describe or explain how you set things like this up and make it really useful, because this is very useful. This is very organized, this is very logical. So let's start a tour and I'll walk you through it. So down here we have the main network ahead in front of us, but before we use such network we need power to match it. And since I have a lot of ME controllers, I don't need this many. I could probably have cut away these 4, or I think I even could have cut away one of these as well. So this is consuming a lot more energy than I really need right now. So almost 5,000 AE per tick. If we take this to RF, that's above 9,000 RF per tick. So this size of a network and all these, you can see all the autocrafting and all the storage and all the controllers. Of course, this is only a theoretical base, and if you would do anything similar to this, you would expand it step by step and not start with this. But you will need power to run this when it's growing in size, that's for sure. And I have done that. Well, I started with some magmatic dynamos over here, and for main power, so to say. But actually it wasn't enough, and instead of making all of this or start up steam engines with Railcraft, whatever, I just put down a creative energy cell. But this energy cell is powering the entire base except for the industrial craft. So I have these geothermal generators to do that, and they are not very active right now. So except for the fact that I am powering, as you can see here, this is the input power directly to the ME controller. It can handle RF directly into it, and I'm using an RF P2P tunnel here and send RF into the network. And this, as you know, these can be connected one to many, and that doesn't mean too many, it means one too many places. So and the same thing goes for the industrial craft, but I'm only using that in one room over there. So we have power coming in, we have another power coming in, and we have the crafting terminal and an interface terminal here. Can be quite good to have an interface terminal in such place, although I think sometimes they are hard to manage in a good way, so usually I don't use them, but this would be the perfect spot for it. And we have a crafting terminal. This is what I have in stock. It's not much. I just wanted to set up a few recipes to just verify that things work as they should, and they do. And when I have a wireless access point, so I should have wireless access all over the base. And what we have here is exactly what you have seen in my previous videos. I hope you have seen them. If you remember the example over there with quite a lot of channels through a dedicated P2P tunnel network. Same thing here. We have all these colors. They are 16 right now. I could have the double if I had more rooms to fill. I could easily have an additional set, no problems. So all of these are just coming out from the controller and into a tunnel. And all of these tunnels, they have a dedicated room all around the base. And for example, we have the brown. Here we have 32 channels in the brown network. So this tunnel corresponds to this one. As you can see, we have 32 channels here as well, connected to this side of the ME controller. Perfect. So this network is the same as this network. And this goes for the entire base. All of these colors, one each, goes to one room each. We have cyan, red, or is it blue perhaps? Black, white, green, I haven't even populated the rooms, and I'm not even using half of the capacity so far, so 16 right now. They are connected right here, 4 here and 4 down here. That's 8 on this side, 8 on this side, 16 channels, only tunnels. See, tunnels on every side. So all these 16 tunnels coming into here, and this is our not a sub network actually, it's a dedicated P2P network. It's powered from the same power source as we have over there. And we need the controller since we have more than 8 channels. So on this side I have a dense cable coming out. This was my first design actually, to have a dense cable going over there and all the way down there, but it's not really needed since I have only 16 channels. I could use 2 smart cables instead. So I could have, instead of this dense cable, since I'm only using 8 channels here, this could be thin as well, like this one. But I really wanted to demonstrate that dense could go around all the place. But you can get quite far. You can have like 8 here, and 8 here. So only 8 more channels here, like 2 controllers more. That means 8 more channels coming in. And we have 3 sides. And only thin cable on this side. So you can still have it quite cheap. You don't need to go for dense until you are very late in your base building and AE networking. So let's follow this one and see what we have. So you can see here we are using 8 channels. So all this side is completely filled from this side. Great. We have a P2P tunnel with the purple output. And the colors, they don't matter, of course. But you need to sync each and every one of those cables to a tunnel and match it with the room, so you know exactly what color to use here if you want to use a color, but you still need to match. I'm using colors because it's easier to track what I have done and what to connect. So in here we have industrial craft stuff. As I said before, this is only basic functionality. Most of them aren't even filled. So in here I have, for example, the copper plates in the metal former in rolling mode. Here we have all the cables, also in a metal former with in a cutting mode. And then in the last one, another one with rolling to make encoded patterns. And then we have a macerator, and all of these, they have the ejector upgrade, so you can connect it just like this. So this room could be filled with 32 machines or 32 interfaces. And but since I'm using, I have roughly in almost every room, I have a crafting terminal and a pattern terminal in the same room. So let's say 30 interfaces in here, so basically 30 machines. So just make sure that the dense cables and the smart or the thin cables, you don't even need to use the smart cables, but I do use them for my tutorials because it's much easier to follow. So in here I'm basically crafting cables and plates on demand, and I could expand it quite a lot more. Only 9 out of 32 channels. And I can mention that if you have a room like this with only a few machines, you're not even using most of the purple dense cable. So you can actually have another room, perhaps this one, since, well, here I have my EnderIO machines. I haven't even started to fill these with patterns. It will be the same thing as over there, and you know how to do this, I hope. I could have used a purple output here as well. I need to change the tunnel, of course, to match the purple one over there. And then I would have the light gray in another room, perhaps this one. Perhaps this room has a requirement of 60 machines or channels. Well, then I could have one output for gray and then one output for, what was it? It was light gray. So both light gray and gray in here. So you can still be quite flexible. Just remember that if you're using one color to many places, then that will cost channels in this network. This one. 8 channels, then I would have I would use 9 channels here instead. So it would reduce my maximum theoretical value of how many channels I can put through this, but perhaps the benefits are worth more actually. Moving on, we have a small room with, well, to make glass from sand. Pulverized coal from coal. So these are my thermal expansion machines. One of each. Induction, yeah, here I have some Invar and Electrum and bronze, for example, and yeah, planks from wood. So also very small room, but this can of course be expanded, and you can have, as I had over here, I have 3 metal formers. Perhaps you want, if you're expecting to make a lot of planks, well, have 2 sawmills then. So let's move on. We have more to cover. This is a storage room. I'm using 32 channels in here. So this room is filled and almost only ME drives in here. So I just threw some 1K storage cells, and well, I don't think this is optimum way to do things, but if you do like this, I can promise you that you will have storage for quite some time. You can also combine this with subnetworks. I have covered this before. Here I have a storage bus to an ME interface. So cobblestone, gravel, sand, dirt, those things that you might get a lot of. I'm storing these, and as you can see, the priority is +1. So this has a higher priority than all of these. See, they are 0, they are standard. So they will always go in here, these 4. They will never be stored in these drives. And in here, well, I have a few of each, as you can see. But you can do this in different ways as well. You can have one ME drive and then just format it out, or format the cells. I have done the cell formatting, but I have them in different ME chests instead, so I can just look down into it. dirt, sand, gravel, and this one is full. This one is completely filled. We are not allowed to have any more than 8,128 gravel. It's partitioned. You can see it. Now it's red. What will happen if we get more gravel? Well, since the storage bus will force it to go into here, I have another storage bus in here. It's exporting, well, let's see, this has a -1 priority. So this is lower than the ME chests. So now the gravel will end up in the iron chest. And here they will be voided. So let me demonstrate. Pop in there. See, ended up in here. And they are getting voided because nothing else can be fit in this cell. And gravel has to end up in this network, and that means gravel has to be voided. So you can, I have covered this before, I just want to go through it briefly in this setup, but you can combine this storage room with the sub-networks within the storage room, just keep track on this number that you have 32 channels here and nothing more. Now we have 2 more areas to cover. Let's take this one first, auto-crafting. Another room filled with 32 channels. And here is my auto-crafting room, or actually the brain to do of auto-crafting. I have not tried this and designed an optimal crafting CPU room. Perhaps you want only one big and then tons of small, but yeah, it looks kind of cool. Anyway, so these are 1Ks and these are 16Ks and 64Ks, and of course they are very expensive, so doing like this is probably very late game. These are tons of 64K crafting storages, so playground for creative worlds, I guess, but the concept is very clear. We have one room dedicated for all our crafting CPUs. And where things happen is over here. Almost 2 identical rooms. They are using 32 channels each, so they are maximizing their outputs. And here we have, I'm using the 2 different setups you can use with ME interfaces and molecular assemblers. So here I have one interface connected to 4 assemblers, and here as well, and I have 2 rows of these. So these 1 to 4, it means that it can craft, I think I only have 1 pattern. No, I don't even have that. Let's see, we can make one. If we take oak and turn it into sticks, okay? And we put it in here like that. Good. And now let's craft 200 sticks. Then you can see they are being crafted in all assemblers at once. So this one should probably be used for these things used in all recipes, like sticks or perhaps planks for that case. So when you're doing a big job and you will need like 2,000 sticks or so to make one item, well, then you do it like this. Otherwise, you're doing the normal way. You have perhaps 4 or 5. Oh, I think there's one assembler below as well, so actually it's 1 to 5. Here we have 4 to 1 instead. So all of these, here I have, as I said, only cables. And if we order that, gold cables, good. They will be produced in here. And here you have all of these recipes that are perhaps quicker to do. that you only will need a few of. So you don't want to use all these 9 and these 9 and these 9 and these 9 into the same chamber, so they have to wait for each other. So you still have to balance things around. Perhaps 1 to 1 is most optimal. I don't know. I haven't really benchmarked it. It depends on what job you're doing actually. But anyway, I decided to build 2 rooms for autocrafting. And since I have lots of CPUs over there, I could probably manage to craft 1 in each in here. As long as they are not in the same cluster, then it should be very fast, this autocrafting. And the final thing to cover in this setup, we have the input. So not much happening in here. Input from mine or quarry, perhaps. So in here I have some ores. Good, let's connect it and see what happens. Are they ending up into here? Well, they are. You don't have to do it like that. See, they're already inserted. Oh, right, they end up in here. But all of a sudden, they are here. All right, the storage bus. It could actually be insert, extract only. No, insert only. Yeah, this is better. Now we can't see it. I don't want to see the ores. I just want to put them here and forget about it. So this is the ore processing room. As you can see, we have lots of pulverizers on this side. Ferrous, copper. Yep, things are happening. And again, I'm doing the same thing. We have higher priority, 5 here. So when we get ores, all of these ores into the network, they will be stored in this chest and not in that storage. And what, oh, we have gold, pulverized stuff. Let's do the same thing here. Insert only. Yeah, that looks better. Why do we have copper ingots in here? So this is how it's supposed to be anyway. All the pulverized stuff coming into here, and you just need to make sure that, oh, pulverized copper. Yeah, could have been while I was changing the modes. Yep, that's probably it. Anyway, now things are happening automatically. All the pulverized stuff coming into here, into these, and they are output back into this interface. So ores on this side, outputs back to the network, but they're not going to that storage. They are directly going into this chest where they wait until all these are done. So yeah, just doing their thing. Perhaps I should speed this up a little. Anyway, this is how you do it. And what more is there to cover? Well, the power part. Here I have the P2P tunnel. It goes down here. It's the same power system as we have over there in the middle. But yeah, and the same thing goes for over here, where I have thermal expansion machines. P2P tunnel RF. And the power over here is P2P tunnel for EU and, well, to make our cables and plates and stuff. So what you have seen now is an example of how to use P2P tunnels in a good way. I have talked about it a lot, how to connect things, but I really wanted to make this video to demonstrate how to make it useful in a, not in a really useful way. And I think this is one of the best ways to use the tunnels in, that you have a large network, you have dedicated areas, you have the controller and you're sending one side to another place, and then you know exactly what you have in there So you have full control and it's very organized. So this is how I like it, and I hope you understand exactly what I've done. If not, then just ask and I will definitely answer. Well, I could go on and talk about how to what to put in more rooms, but as I said in the beginning, it would just be the same thing over and over and over again. You do it in the same way for every room, and the fun part is that this network that I see here is the same network as I see in every room throughout the base. All this stuff is located over there, and we're using tunnels to connect everything together, and someday, I haven't done it so far in my Let's Play series, but someday I will build something like this in a world, because it's actually quite cool. Oh, and since we talked about the quantum bridge before, well, I threw it in just to demonstrate where to connect it. Of course, you connect it to the main ME controller and you set up a P2P network like this. Now I'm just using 4 channels, so that means, well, 4 tunnels. That means 4 in, 4 out, so I don't need any ME controller in here. So here I have 4 sides not used for anything else. These 4 comes in tunnel, and we need to power this small dedicated network, but don't connect it because then it will not work. Into the quantum ring we have quantum bridge 1, and then over here, perhaps on another dimension or planet or the nether or whatever, here we have the output. I'm just connecting 4 on this side and 4 on this side, so we have all the 8 channels used in this thin cable, and as you can see we have the same network over here. Just want to throw it in there since, you know, we've been talking about it so much. Alright, now it's time to go. Take care. Bye.